Well, hey, folks, we're going live right now. It's Thanksgiving Day. Thanksgiving Day. I don't think there's too many of you out there that are watching, but as I said last night, I'd probably check in around midday. We're going to do a live stream tonight after everybody's settled down from their holidays. And I wanted to check in, just see how everybody's doing. If you're all with family or with friends, are you alone? Are you missing people? I know they say that the holidays can be a very tough time on many people. Sometimes it's because you're missing someone, or because you don't want to be around other people for various reasons. And so I just wanted to come in and say hi and say if you want to come in and chat a little bit, you can. I don't know if anybody's here. Anybody will be here. Well, I see there's a couple of people, and so welcome. You're not checked into the chat, but you're here, and so that's all this is. It's just a Thanksgiving check-in because we all have the holidays are. I think they're fun. They're amazing. They're exciting. Oh, well, hey, Corey, how you doing? Hey, Teresa, Master Finn, how you doing? Matt, I think the holidays can be rough on some people because it either brings up bittersweet memories, hurtful memories, or there's just nobody there. And so I wanted to, because I stayed home today while my wife took the kids up to her family's. I'm home because I have some things I had to do here, and so I thought I'd check in with you guys and just see how you're doing. Gobble gobble, Teresa. That's right. Hey, Sean, how you doing, brother? Hey, Michelle. Wow, everybody's checking in. I thought you'd all be eating turkey, or did you already get done with that, eating your family feasts? And Michelle, how you doing? Good to see you. Just you and Nate. Yeah, it's just me. My wife is up with her family with the kiddos, and they'll probably come back here. I don't know when, later this afternoon or this evening, and we'll do our own little thing. So turkey always smells good. You know, I did a turkey the other day in the oven. Obviously, I baked a turkey, stuffed it, and baked it the other day, and I think it was on Sunday, and we had that on Sunday with the mashed potatoes and the gravy. Oh, gravy! I made gravy from the drippings from the turkey. It was fantastic, and we just warmed some of that up last night to have a little bit of it. And warming up that gravy, so, just the rich aroma of the turkey again, because it was made from the drippings from the turkeys. It was amazing, and I was having a boring ass day. A boring assed day, to be more proper. How you doing, Iowa? And so I hope you're all having a good day. But if you're not, if you're alone, here we are. It's a good time to gather and to talk. And here, I'll show you something. I was working on some things. I posted it on my Facebook, but let's see. I've got the original art here of some stuff that I was working on today. Where'd it go? I just had it right here. Oh, okay, here it is. When I did Krampus the other day, I had this guy up, and I do a little bit of manipulation and color alts and things like that in Photoshop. And then this is the one I did today. This is Creepy Frosty. And so I added his shadow and the text, and I brightened up the colors a bit and did some filter effects on it. That's for the new shirts. So that's coming. Hey, Scott Lowry. Good to see you. It's like the old gang is here today. So it's kind of neat. So that's what I've been doing today, doing artwork. And let's see. I want to see if I missed anything here as people are. I think live, there's a little bit of a delay here. I believe maybe a 30-second delay. I'm not sure. So you've been scouring through the court docs while waiting for dinner. That's an interesting task, Matt. Maybe tell us a little bit about that. What's going on with that? That's very interesting. Hey, Roger, good to see you. You just got the notification. You're outside playing disc golf right now, but y'all are in my pocket. Well, that's pretty cool. Thanks. It's nice that you have us with you while you're playing disc golf. And you need some t-shirt designs for Andromeda 7 from Scotty. Yes, you do. We'll talk, Teresa. And well, something else I did, and I don't want this to seem too presumptuous. I know some of you have said that you like some of the music I do. I pulled out my guitar and wanted to do a song or two. And again, not to be presumptuous, like, hey, you're here to hear my music. It's nothing like that, but and I'm very rusty on the guitar. I don't pick this up enough. I think almost the last time I played guitar was when I played it on here on the show. And that was a long time ago, several months ago. So let's see what I can come up with here for you. See if I can get my feet in the right place, so I can sit this on my knee the right way, and we'll see. It's not a sound studio, and I'm very rusty on my guitar. Hey, Matthew Sainsbury, how you doing? So sorry if there's any extra noise there, but the other day when we were talking about Bonnie Banks, Loch Lomond, and we were talking about how there was this ghost, we think it was, that was asking Rainey if we could sing that. And it was very interesting because that's a song I would sing for my children for many years at bedtime. And my kids now different. My set of kids now are a little different than my set of kids. My first set of kids, my first three. My kids now, we do different things at bedtime. They don't like to read and sing quite as much. I think if I really pushed that issue, I think we could get back into that mode. But so I wanted to maybe throw out a song or something here, and that's why I grabbed the guitar. And I have no idea what kind of voice I'm in today. I have no idea how well I'll do with the guitar right now because I'm a little rusty. I'm very rusty. Let's put it that way. So, and I don't play that well anyway. I played for youth group and I played for doing stuff in church, and that was about it. And so here we go. I'm going to do Loch Lomond. See, I can't even hit my notes. On yon bonny banks and on yon bonny braes, where the sun shines bright on Loch Lomond. See how rusty I am on the guitar? Me and my true love will never meet again on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond. 'Twas there that we parted in yon shady glen, on the steep, sweet side of Ben Lomond, where in purple hue the Highland hills we view, and the moon coming out in the gloaming. See, rusty strings. You tack the high road, and I'll tack the low road, and I'll be in Scotland afar ye. But me and my true love will never meet again on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond. The wee birdies sing and the wildflowers spring, while the sun on the water is sleeping. But the broken-hearted kens the second spring again, and the way fools cease from their grave. You tack the high road, and I'll tack the low road, and I'll be in Scotland the fall ye. But me and my true love will never meet again on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond. On the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond. All right, there's that for a rusty piece. Just doing it live on YouTube. I ain't nobody's cover. I'm not. I'm very rusty. I'm very out of. But there it is, and I shouldn't be apologizing for it. But I'm offering that to you for a little Thanksgiving, and so and I got a couple others I might do if you're okay with that. While we sit and talk, sit and chat with each other. That's a song I always used to sing for my kids. I was in, as you know, the Scottish reenactment troupe that we had for many years. We started in 1998, and I heard that song quite often with some of the little bands that would play. And so my kids, I would sing that to them all the time. And if I didn't have the guitar handy, it was always a cappella, or we'd read some of the poems like we read last week or the week before, I guess it was. And so I just thought if you're not doing anything on a Thanksgiving day, I'd come in here and we'd talk a little bit and we'd play a couple of songs. And if you know them, you can sing along. There's another little one that I'll do. And I don't think I did this on here before, but my kids like this song a lot. And it's a very common Irish song. You've heard it a million times. Maybe you don't know the words to it. But Molly Malone, have you ever heard that song? Cockles and Mussels, Alive, Alive, oh, I think. I don't know if the song's called Molly Malone. That's how my kids know it, Molly Malone. And so see what you think of this. And again, pardon me as I warm up my fingers in the strings. In Dublin's fair city, where the girls are so pretty, there's none could compare with sweet Molly Malone. She wheeled her wheelbarrow down streets broad and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. Alive, alive, oh. Alive, alive, oh. Crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. Now she was a fishmonger, and sure it's no wonder, for so were her father and mother before. They wheeled their wheelbarrows down streets broad and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. Alive, alive, oh. Alive, alive, oh. Crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. Now she died of a fever, and no one could save her, and that was the end of sweet Molly Malone. But her ghost wheels her barrow down streets broad and narrow, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, alive, alive, oh, crying cockles and mussels, alive, alive, oh. There, my kids like that one. My kids are morbid, though. They like songs about death. And so, and there's a couple of other ones, so that we might do here as well. Al, how you doing? Good to see you. Good to see you here. Welcome, by the way. Al, I don't think I've ever seen you before. And those who might be listening that have never been here before, this is not a typical show. This is just a little live Thanksgiving, how you doing, and me messing around with my guitar for a few minutes. So I hope you enjoy it. And there's a couple of other songs, and some of them are tough to play. I never played them well. I'm trying to figure some out. Okay, I'll try this. I can't ever get the fingering right on this one. And it probably should be strummed, but I don't strum all that well. So bear with the rusty guitar strings. You might like this song. Let me see if I can even remember all the words to this. All right. She went down last October in the pouring, driving rain. The skipper, he'd been drinking, and the mate, he felt no pain. Too close to 3 Mile Rock when she was dealt her mortal blow. And the Mary Ellen Carter settled low. There was Justice 5 aboard her when she finally was awash. We worked like hell to save her, all heedless of the cost. And the groan she gave as she went down, it caused us to proclaim that the Mary Ellen Carter'd rise again. Well, the owners wrote her off, not a nickel would they spend. She gave 20 years of service, boys, met her sorry end. Insurance paid the loss to us, so let her rest below. Then they laughed at us and said we had to go. Well, we talked of her all winter, some days around the clock. Why, she's worth $250,000 just floating at the dock. And with every jar that hit the bar, we swore we would remain and make the Mary Ellen Carter rise again. Rise again. Rise again. That her name not be lost. You see, I'm losing the strings. That her name not be lost to the knowledge of men. Those who loved her best and were with her till the end will make the Mary Ellen Carter rise again. All spring now we've been with her on a barge lent by a friend. 3 dives a day in a hard hat suit, and twice I've had the bends. Thank God she's only 60 feet and the currents here are slow, or I'd never have the strength to go below. Well, we patched her dents, wrapped her vents, dog patch and portal down, put cables to her fore and aft and girded her around. Tomorrow noon we'll hit the air and then take up the strain and make the Mary Ellen Carter rise again. Rise again. rise again, that her name not be lost to the knowledge of men. Those who loved her best and were with her till the end will make the Mary, I'm losing my strings, Mary Ellen Carter rise again. Now, before I do the last verse, this is why you rehearse before you do a concert or you sing in front of a group. I haven't touched the guitar here in but 5 minutes in the last 6 months. So now the last verse is now you to whom adversity has dealt her final blow. With smiling bastards lying to you everywhere you go. Turn to and put out all your strength of heart and mind and brain, and like the Mary Ellen Carter, rise again, rise again, rise again. And my runs are rusty. That though your heart it be broken and life about to end, no matter what you've lost, be it a home, a love, a friend, like the Mary Ellen Carter, rise again, rise again, rise again, that her name not be lost to the knowledge of men. Those who loved her best and were with her till the end will make the Mary Ellen Carter rise again. Okay, sorry for the roughness of those strings, but there you go. So, great song. Stan Rogers sang that song, and the late Stan Rogers. And he was a Canadian folk artist with his band, and he had... you may or may not recognize his songs. I've quoted some of his songs. I, of course, don't play guitar as well as he did. And but great song, the Mary Ellen Carter. And he's the one, I think some of us talked about this before, because he had the song The Northwest Passage. We quoted on one. He had Barrett's Privateers, which was one of our favorites. His brother wrote a song. It's just popped into my mind. And again, if you can tolerate my rusty guitar playing, I might do a couple more of these. But his brother Garrett Rogers wrote this song, and my kids love this song. Let's see if I can think of what key it's in, and how it even goes. You business mind America, by if you must. Okay, rusty, but I'll try it. My kids love this. I usually capo this one up too. Hang on, I'm gonna go get a capo. Only because I'm not good enough to just switch keys into a different key. I can, but it's a pain in the butt for me. Hang on. If I can find one, they're all gone. Well, son of a gun. Well, I guess we'll do it without a capo, because someone's little 5-year-old likes to take those off because they're little clamps that you clamp on the strings. If you don't know what a capo is, it's a little clamp that'll clamp on a fret, and it raises the key. You can play in another key. So my little child did something with them. So here, we'll do it without the capo. Let's see. All right, could be a little low for me. It says, "You've no business buying a mare like that, but buy her if you must." He bit the end of his cigar and spat it in the dust. She's old, she's lame and barren too, and not worth feeding hay. But I give you this, he blew smoke at me. She was something in her day. I knew her well 10 years ago, a winner in her prime. She was fast and lean and willing, but they raced her past her time. Though she had the heart, her legs were gone, and it wasn't hard to see. They kept her at it in the hopes of just one more small victory. Well, she'd been run from track to track, he said, from Kentucky up to Maine. They'd run her in cheap claimers, all doped up to mask her pain. If it's my advice you ask, I'd say the poor thing's had her day. You'd be throwing good cash after bad. It was best he turned away. 'Cause they led her around the auction shed. The bidding started low. She'll go for dog food, someone said. The market's been that slow. Then she raised her head and pricked her ears, and before the hammer fell, she was mine. My friend turned round to me. You're soft-headed, I can tell. Well, she's been run from pillar to post, said I, and always done her best. They used her up, they wrung her dry. You'd think she earned her rest. But if she does not but bode her days beneath some shady tree, I'll have saved her from the knacker's yard, and that's enough for me. Well, that was near 2 years ago. She's filled out some since then. More so since she's been in full. She eats enough for 10. And this morning as I crept to the barn, around about 3:30, there stood nursing on still trembling legs one more small victory. My kiddos love that song. Now, and that's something too. I used to own I was buying a horse ranch with Rainey, and we had 26 horses out there, as I had mentioned once before, and it's kind of uncanny. You ask anybody who raises horses, it's rare that you see the birth of a horse. You could be waiting for days, for hours, and you turn your back, and in 2 minutes, that horse is born. And it's kind of weird. And I've talked to a lot of horse owners that said the same thing, that you never really see them being born. So I remember one winter, it was about 30 to 40 below zero, our actual air temperature. And there was a big, not a Clydesdale, but I'm trying to think why it's slipping from the big workhorses that are like the Clydesdales, like the Budweiser horses, but not a Clydesdale. It was a different kind of breed, huge horses. And the mom dropped a foal in the middle of the night, and we could tell she wasn't pregnant anymore, but we couldn't find the baby anywhere. And she had not done it in the stable or the barn, but she had been out in the pasture. We couldn't find the baby. And then we realized when she dropped the foal, it had rolled down a slight hill and beneath wire fencing that we had up. And so the mom couldn't get to her for several hours. And we found this horse, and this horse had to be, oh my God, at least 200 pounds already. I mean, it's this big breed. What are they? If anybody knows what they are. Um, so I actually picked up the horse, a neck under one arm and kind of the rump under the other arm and the forelegs hanging, and I carried it inside the house. And I stood her up inside the house, and we threw a blanket over to warm her up because here it was almost 40 below zero. And she wasn't getting any of mom's cholesterol. We called the vet right away. We tried, because then we couldn't. It was a big mess, and she didn't make it. But we didn't see her born either. So, but that's one of the. I have one other story about when my twin daughters, Abby and Bryn. I was a long story. I was buying this ranch once before with my ex-wife. Then at the divorce from my ex-wife almost 20 years ago, I turned it back over to the owner. We were doing a contract for deed. And then it sat, and I ran into him a few years later when Rainey and I were dating. Almost 5 years later, 6 years later. And he said, Mr. Roberts, weren't nobody but done love that ranch but you and me. He says, if you want it, it's yours. And so I talked to Rainey, and sure enough, we went back out there and we started to buy that ranch again. And that was in 2008. And so we had it for a little while. But when I was out there with my twin daughters, when they were young, they were about 7 years old. And this would have been back in like 1998, 99. And maybe 98, they were 6. Because we moved out there in 97. And there was a mother who in the summertime had dropped a foal. And it was a little painted pony. And so my daughters were all excited about this. And I said, come out to the pasture with me, because they would love to have pet the pony and touch the pony, and always ran away. And the mom ran away. And the mom was very protective. Mom would graze, and you could tell by the ears, the body language. Mom, if the ears were forward, they were fine. If they were back, they're angry or very cautious. But one ear forward, one ear, and the other ear back. I'm cautious, but I'm watching you. I'm paying attention. And so I said to my daughters, I said, come out here into the pasture. And we sat in the long grass. And I said, just sit here. And the pony, the baby and the mom were about 200 yards away from us. 100 yards, length of a football field. And so we were sitting there, and I said, just sit very still. Don't call for it. Don't say anything. And we sat there, and sure enough, that pony, he would peek out behind his mother and look at us. And mom was grazing, one ear back, one ear forward. And that pony would worked its way. It took about 20 minutes. And he worked his way all the way up to within about 12 feet away from us. And I said to my daughter, now very slowly, I said, just put a hand up. Put your arm out. Put your hand up like this. And so they both sat there with their hands next to each other and put their hands up. And that pony worked his way closer and closer, and eventually came right up and very slowly took his nose and put it in their hands and backed off and ran off, kicking his heels in the air and jumping around in circles around his mom like, ha, I touched them. And then they both took off and ran to the other end of the pasture again. My daughters were just giddy. And so that's what it was like out on the ranch, and life for them out on the ranch. It was a beautiful thing. We really enjoyed it while we were out there. And so it's a wonderful little thing about having foals and having ponies and things like that. So, but anyway, let's see. There is a song that my son used to like to have me sing. I don't know if I can do it on the guitar here. Let's see. Let me see if I can think of it. I was That's the wrong key, but I think I can do this. It's the only place I have voice. Are you familiar with I don't think it's the national anthem, but it's the traditional national song of Australia, Waltzin' Matilda. And it's kind of an upbeat song, but I've heard it played slow. It's a song where the chorus is Waltzin' Matilda, who'll come a waltzin' Matilda with me. And it's the song, and the Matilda was the name that was given to the little backpack, that you'd throw on your pack and you'd go do a walkabout. And Waltzin' your Matilda was doing your walkabout, going out into the green and hiking or doing your thing. And this is a song. It's a sadder song. It's a much more. You could almost say it's a bit morbid at times. It's and I don't remember all the words to it, but I know enough. And my son Sam used to like to have me sing this a lot, and then Flynn liked to have me sing this. And so it's a variation on the Waltzin' Matilda song. It's called "And the Band Played Waltzin' Matilda." And there's a band, some friends of mine that I went at the Irish pub a few weeks ago and listened to them. They used to play this one all the time. And now I'm playing this in a little different key, so I don't have all the little frills and things. But of course, I'm rusty on the strings anyway right now. When I was a young man, wait, maybe. When I was a young man, I'd carry, I'd carry my pack. I'll start that over. When I was a young man, I'd carry my pack and live the free life of a rover. From the Murray's green basin to the dusty outback, I'd waltz my Matilda all over. Then in 1916, my country said, son, it's time to stop your roving, there's work to be done. Sorry about my guitar playing. To be done. So they gave me a tin hat and gave me a gun and sent me away to the war. And the band played Waltzin' Matilda as our ship pulled away from the quay. And amidst all the tears, flag waving and cheers, we sailed off for Gallipoli. How well I remember that terrible day when our blood stained the sand and the water, and how in that hellhole they called Suvla Bay we were butchered like lambs to the slaughter. Johnny Turk, he was ready, he'd primed himself well. He rained us with bullets and showered us with shell. And in 5 minutes flat, we were all blown to hell. Nearly blew us right back to Australia. Still the band played Waltzin' Matilda as we stopped for to bury our slain. But as we buried ours, the Turks buried theirs. Then it started all over again. Let's see. This is where I forget some of the words. It's something about how everyone tried to just stay alive in this mad world of blood, death, and fire. And for 10 weary weeks I kept myself alive, while the corpses around me piled higher. Then a big Turkish shell knocked me arse overhead, and when I arrived in my hospital bed and seen what they'd done, well, I wished I were dead. Never knew there was worse things than dying. No more I'll go waltzing Matilda around the green bush far and near, for the hump tent and pegs, a man needs both legs. Oh, I'll waltz my Matilda no more. So they gathered the wounded, the blind, and the maimed, and shipped us back home to Australia. The legless, the armless, the blind, the insane, the proud wounded heroes of Suvla. And as our ship pulled into Circular Quay, I looked at the place where my legs used to be, and thanked Christ there was no one there waiting for me to grieve or to mourn or to pity. The band played Waltzing Matilda as they carried us down the gangway, but nobody cheered. They just stood there and stared. Then they turned all their faces away. Now every April I sit on my porch and watch the parade pass before me, and I see my old comrades, how proudly they march, reliving old dreams of past glories. The old men are marching, but they're tired, weak, and poor. They're forgotten heroes of a forgotten war. And the young people ask, what are they marching for? And I ask myself the same question. And the band plays Waltzing Matilda, and the old men still answer the call. But as year follows year, more old men disappear. Soon there'll be no one marching at all. Waltzing Matilda, waltzing Matilda, who'll come a waltzing Matilda with me? Oh, and the ghosts can be heard as you march by the billabong. Oh, who'll come a waltzing Matilda Okay, that's the song. And again, butchering a bit with my strings, my rustiness. Sorry about that. It's been a long time since I used to play all the time. So that's a song that my kids like. Now, I may have done this one for you before. I'm not even going to play this one on the guitar, but I've heard this done in a cappella. This is by a group I knew when we were doing our 1750s Scottish reenacting of the British Highland regiments. And they would always be at a particular event that we would go to every year playing. And this is a song called Vimy. As long as we're on a war theme, a World War I theme with that last song. This one, when you have the way they sang it, solo, a cappella, no instruments. One guy would sing the stanzas. And then they would all join together and do very tight harmony on the chorus. And a very moving song. And it goes like this. Now, I'm going to sing this a cappella. Let's see. Raise your flask. Aim your rifles high. I've had a dream, I've seen we three should have no fear at all. You'll die in Kenora, Billy. You Jim in Winnipeg. And I will end my days in Montreal. These people come to see me in my bedroom, with faces dim and names I can't recall. A woman with a golden ring, she comes to comb my hair. Then she dresses me and walks me down the hall. I can still put one foot before the other if someone points the way for me to go. Outside the sun is shining and there's people gathered round. They put circles of red flowers on stones. Raise your flask. Aim your rifles high. I've had a dream, I've seen we three should have no fear at all. You'll die in Kenora, Billy. You Jim in Winnipeg. And I will end my days in Montreal. Jimmy Radkin stood before me in the tunnel, spat on his bayonet and wiped it in his hand. He rocked from heel to heel, blew out his cheeks and whistled as we waited for the order to advance. Jimmy Rankin was only 20, and we thought him an old man. He said he'd fathered children by the score, by girls back home in Winnipeg and girls in Calais. And he swore by God there'd be 100 more. Raise your flask. Aim your rifles high. I've had a dream, I've seen we three should have no fear at all. You'll die in Kenora, Billy. You Jim in Winnipeg. And I will spend my days in Montreal. Jimmy Whitefish from Kenora, jet black hair and eyes like coal. We all called him Chief behind his back. He never laughed or smiled or joked or said that much at all. He just waited for the order to advance. They threw shells over our heads into the hillside. In 30 yards, our kitten boots were full of mud. When I could see again, I was alone. Jimmy wasn't there, and a crater marked the hillside where he'd lain. Jimmy Whitefish from Kenora wound up in a German trench where he captured their machine guns all alone. And he held them off until his ammunition was all spent. Then they swarmed around and they hacked him to the bone. Raise your flask. Aim your rifles high. I've had a dream, I've seen we three should have no fear at all. You'll die in Kenora, Billy. You Jim in Winnipeg. And I will end my days in Montreal. The last sound I ever heard was an explosion. Bodies flew like apples thrown by boys at play. When I could see again, I was alone, and Jimmy wasn't there, and a crater marked the hillside where he'd lain. Jimmy Whitefish from Kenora wound up in a German trench where he captured their machine guns all alone. And he held them off until his ammunition was all spent. Then they swarmed around and they hacked him to the bone. Raise your flask. Aim your rifles high. I've had a dream, I've seen we three should have no fear at all. You'll die in Kenora, Billy. You Jim in Winnipeg. And I will end my days in Montreal. Every day I still remember what I told them. My two friends who that day from this earth were torn. Now the craters and the trenches where they died will bear the names of the cities and the towns where they were born. Raise your flask. Aim your rifles high. I've had a dream, I've seen we three should have no fear at all. You'll die in Kenora, Billy. You Jim in Winnipeg. And I will end my days in Montreal. Now, the story behind that song is at Vimy, where World War I practically ended. It was bombed and cratered, and many men died there. And when they came back, I think it was, who would have been, I'm trying to think of the years, 70 years later, 80 years later, something like that. They created out of this, you can still go there and see the bombed out, cratered battlefield. And Vimy Ridge, right, Michelle? And they set up a memorial there. And all the craters and the trenches, they named them after the cities and the towns where all the soldiers who had died there were born. And that's the song. Now the craters and the trenches where they died will bear the names of the cities and the towns where they were born. Um, You'll die in Kenora, Billy, you Jim in Winnipeg, and I shall end my days in Montreal. So that's the song. That was written by a group called Tanglefoot. You can go look them up, Tanglefoot. Look up the song Vimy. You got to hear it just to hear the harmonies. I don't know why these songs take such a big hold of me. Some of them, as you know me very well. I cry at Disney cartoons with my kids, or I cry before my kids do. But there are some songs that just grip me. That's one of them. And I sing that song, and I think about these things because, and I've mentioned this before. I don't want to turn this too weird at this point, but I had often thought that this whole past life thing was the jury was always out for me on it because there's no way to substantiate it. But I used to have, as a kid, I had recurring dreams of being a soldier, an officer in different battles throughout history. And I had wondered at one point if I had been, because I'm so gripped by this stuff. I went into the Marine Corps when I was 23 years old. And that's when I broke the bone in my lower back, and I didn't make it. I signed on for 6 years to be an officer. And before I even got to officer training school, I broke my lower back, and I was given a medical discharge. And but there was something about serving in the military, and there still is. And I'm a little disjointed with this in trying to relay it, and I may have talked about it before, but I had often thought, and somebody had once said to me who is sensitive on these issues psychically, said, I think that you were a soldier in past lives, multiple lives. And this stuff grips you that way. That's why you had the dreams. That's why you have all this. And so it's interesting stuff. And I'll never know for sure other than to know that it's for sure. I remember I took my older son, Sam, when he was in high school. Remember the movie that came out, American Sniper? It was the story about, his name's slipping from me. You can come up with it. It was played by Brad, same guy that was in A Star Is Born with Lady Gaga, Bradley Cooper. And Chris, I can't think of the soldier's name. But he was a sniper, and he was murdered when he got back home. And but it was we saw the movie about his experiences. And I remember sitting in the theater, and I had on my big wool coat, and I had I think probably that hat on, and it was slipped there. I wasn't in anybody's way with that. And there were certain scenes where I felt like everybody was looking at me, but nobody was looking at me. They're watching the movie. And I stood up and I cried in the movie. And at the end of the movie, when I stood up, I felt there was a esprit de corps about me. I felt like I had a military bearing. Now, mind you, this isn't just the grip of the movie, of watching a movie that gripped you, and it was a good movie. But as I strode out of there, I felt as if I had a military bearing about me, and I thought, that's an odd thing to feel. And as we're driving, my son and I driving home, 5 minutes home from the theater, and I was gripped by this emotion. He was talking about one scene, and I started to cry, and I couldn't stop, and I was trying to hold it back because I didn't want to break down totally in front of my son. So we got home, and I dropped, and he ran in, and I sat down at my computer, and I called my friend John Ward in Egypt, and because he and I had talked a lot about metaphysics and these types of things, and I said, I got to talk to you. And I said, I can't explain it. And I relayed what I was feeling, and I was just racked with emotion through it. And I said, it's not just watching a movie. There's something going on here. And he told me, he said, I want you to, when you get off the phone, he says, go outside. Even though there's snow on the ground, sit down, meditate, and ask for clarity on it. Which I did. I didn't feel like I got a lot of clarity, but it calmed me down. And so all of those things, when I would put those together, I had thought that there is definitely something. And then it passed, by the way, and I felt normal again. I didn't have that military bearing, that feeling of that. It was different. I was just back to my normal self. And there was something in that. I remember saying to John when I was talking to him, I said, while I was sitting in the theater, and I kind of felt everybody was watching me about something, and I don't even remember what the scene was. And I sank down a bit in my chair, and I kind of pulled my hat down. It was like I had that feeling I'm being watched by everybody in the theater. But I also got that feeling that somebody was, it's like they're tapping you on the shoulder, not physically, spiritually, and said, you hear this? Listen to this. Watch this. Listen to what he's saying. And I don't remember what it was now. And that's the thing that gripped me so much. So it's interesting. And that's why I think a song like that gets me. I've sung that a million times. It's not until now that it gripped me the way it did. So, but interesting stories, interesting things that we have that go on in our lives that cause those things to happen. I'm wondering if I have anything a little. I'm going to sing maybe one more song. And this is one I should know it, even though I'm rusty on the guitar. I should play it decently enough if I don't just screw up because I'm so rusty. I maybe mentioned this before. This is a song I wrote for my daughters, Abby and Bryn. This is a long time ago. I wrote this well over 22 years ago. And I never finished writing it. I wanted to add a verse for my other kids, and I never did. But they asked me to sing it for them every now and then. And I called it Man in the Moon, but it goes like this. Let's see. Wish me well on the strings with this. Abby was talking to the man in the moon, who was a little bit more than a half of himself. She said, why are you hiding? Are you sad? Are you cold? She sat down and waited for his whisper on the breeze, as the face shined his light through the trees. Abby said brightly, meet my sister Bryn. She heard we were talking and would like to join in. Two little girls dancing in the night, in an ambient pool of the moon's sultry light. Before you were born, I was old, I was gray, cold and lonely and longing for the day when someone would look up, see the light in my face as I shined on their place, and with childlike grace they would talk to me, leave their reason behind. Come talk to me soon. I'm the man in the moon. The nightingale sang for the vagabond tree who'd uprooted himself and in the world roamed free. Two little girls dancing in the night in the shade of the tree and the nightingale's plight. Before you were born, I was tall, I was gray, cold and lonely and longing for the day when someone would climb up and see the light in my face as I shaded their place, and with childlike grace they would talk to me, leave their reason behind, come climbing me. I'm the vagabond tree. And then I did do one for Sam, never quite finished it. And then came the little boy, his name was Sam, with a sword in his hand. He said, a dragon slayer I am. He climbed in the tree, he looked to the bird, and he said, your song's the loveliest that I've ever heard. Before you were born, I was old, I was gray, cold and lonely and longing for the day when someone would look up, see the light in my face as I shined on their place, and with childlike grace they would talk to me, leave their reason behind, come talk to me, come talk to me soon. I'm the man in the moon. So there. Boom. So that was for my kids. And maybe do a different one for Flynn and Rowan and Ellery. But there you go. That's about all I got. I should finish it some one of these days. Hey, Susie Q. Good to see you. So I hope you're all having a good Thanksgiving. I probably don't have a lot more to say for right now. I was going to do a show tonight. So I think pending what's going on with family, I plan on being back here in 5 hours from now, which would be 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern. We're going to go live. We'll be live again just like we are now. We're live. And just see how everybody's Thanksgiving was. Have a informal, intrepid radio program. And so there you go, folks. Maybe I'll be encouraged to try to pick up this guitar more than once every 8 months and see if I can get the rust worked out and do some better stuff. So thanks for being here. I just wanted to check in with everybody and make sure you're having a good day. And if you're not having a good day, that you're having a better day. And I know I saw Corey at the beginning. I don't see you now. I hope you're still there, Corey. I hope you're having a good day. Oh, there you are. Hope you pull through safely, Matt. Oh, what happened with Matt? Oh, Matt or Matthew? So, Matthew, yeah, you take care of yourself. I hope everything goes well for you. Just come on back. Keep us apprised of what's happening. And everybody who's here, thanks for being here. Thanks for taking an hour and 10 minutes out of your Thanksgiving holiday during the afternoon, nonetheless. And I'm going to go eat some leftover turkey from the turkey I cooked and stuffed the other day. So, um, thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. And you have a good rest of your day. If you're free tonight and not sleeping, come on over at 9 p.m. and we'll do a round of Intrepid Radio. So there you go. You have a good day. Hard to say, figure out how to wrap this neatly, but other than to say, you have a good day and a good rest of your day. And I will see you a little later. Eat that turkey. Talk to you soon. Happy Thanksgiving. Bye.